Two Ways of Seeing a River by Mark Twain essay. In Mark Twain's passage, Two Ways of Seeing a River, the reader is compelled to examine inside themselves concerning how much beauty they look past on the planet. Twain portrays in great detail an encounter he had on a river in a literal way. Twain starts his passage by portraying how, after being on the river, he had failed to remember all of the things he felt, saw, and encountered the first break on a steamboat in the river. After being out on the river so often it just became standard, and he states that all the grace, the beauty, the poetry had left the majestic river. Through the primary paragraph you start to find out about how it feels to be on the river that first time. He keeps on explaining his experience, yet starts to address himself and all that he had missed. Before the finish of the passage, the reader is left to address where the beauty has gone. The circumstance, or kairos, of this passage could be relevant to whatever point it is read. Similar as the greater part of Mark Twain's literature works, Two Ways of Seeing a River is immortal. Rather, it is 1883, when this was composed, or in today's day and age, individuals behave the same. They approach their days just zeroing in on their own wants and needs, always failing to take in the beauty and miracle that is going on around them. He can apply his work to all kinds of individuals, regardless of the sexual orientation, race, age, or the century where they live. Clearly, Mark Twain is notable because of his ability to compose. This is the main part of the ethos in this story. Since he is prestigious for his works, like The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, he is truly believable. Another part that makes his trustworthy is simply the fact that he encountered this occasion himself. It very well may be addressed as to whether he was simply composing a story from a fictional standpoint, yet there is proof all through the essay that shows he participated in the occasion. All along, he presents the story in first individual. Additional proof that he went through this lies in the accompanying statement. All the value any feature of it had for me currently was the amount of convenience it could outfit toward compassing the safe guiding of a steamboat. This statement shows that he is going profoundly into his psyche. Not exclusively does this statement reveal his internal identity, yet it gives physical proof as to why it has to be him taking a gander at this river. As his past compositions reveal, Twain loves steamboats, and because it specifies them in a particular, technical way, he is giving signs to the reader that he is encountering this. Because of his popularity and own insight, this particular essay is loaded up with ethos. The audience of this passage usually is individuals who are already familiar with Twain's work and expertise, much inclination he places into it, and they take him genuinely. Through his really distinct words, the reader can paint an image of the river and start to feel as on the off chance that they were there. Since Twain can make such an association with his audience, they start to ask themselves inquiries regarding the amount they have missed on the planet. The pathos, or emotional reaction to this passage, is really apparent. After reading it, individuals usually start to glance around and realize how much beauty they have failed to discover in their daily lives. Something that Twain attempts to bring up is that despite the fact that you may have seen something beautiful once, it doesn't mean there isn't beauty in everything throughout again the following time you see it. His aim was with the goal that the reader would walk away after reading this passage and see the world in another way. While reading this passage, the audience can relate and really feel how Mark Twain felt about the river. Logos, or the logical aspect of this essay, is that Mark Twain experienced it himself. On the off chance that he made a major intense statement of how individuals make the beauty disappear on the planet without encountering it firsthand, the reader probably won't take what he has to say to heart. Twain takes a notable action, a doctor seeing a patient, and relates it to the point he's attempting to make. Instead of seeing a specialist as accommodating, Twain puts another point of view on them by saying that they don't see the beauty in individuals, yet rather, they see some unacceptable and bad. By comparing his experience to something everyday that goes on, he makes it more relatable. Two Ways of Seeing a River, by Mark Twain, is a passage that individuals are left addressing themselves after reading it. Through kairos, ethos, pathos, and logos, the reader is taken within a personal experience that Twain had. By reading about how he felt the first occasion when he rode down the river in a steamboat and how it gradually lost its beauty, you start to really feel like you were there with him. The reader is compelled to ask themselves extreme inquiries regarding how they approach their daily lives and how much beauty they pass up. Rather, it is Twain's peaceful and graphic explanation of the river or the stab toward how specialists behave this passage and without a doubt meant to change the way the reader sees the world. Regardless of whether you have seen something beautiful once, it doesn't mean that there isn't more beauty to figure out each time you see it after that. Make sure to pause and take in what really goes on around, and you may be astonished what you find.